Hey y'all, welcome to Wilkie's World Wanderings. We are here to welcome our special guest, J. David Baxter. So glad you're here. So let's give you a little bit of time to be able to talk about your books. We're going to focus on one and specific series today, but I want you to have the opportunity to be able to share all about the different books that you write.
Sure, no worries. J. David Baxter, and I started writing about 15 years ago just as a hobby. And I didn't even really think I'd ever publish at that point. I was just writing for fun and for myself. But then COVID hit and everything shut down, and I was out of work. Got laid off from the job that I was on and had free time. So I went ahead and I decided, okay, like so many people, might as well, I've got this time, I might as well use it. And so I had one story that had been kicking around in the back of my head for at least 2 decades. I've got writing snippets from all the way back in like '98. So it's been in there for a long time. And so I went ahead and did the first book of that, and it ended up turning into a 5-book series. I've got 2 related series that are all about that one, and those are collectively the Grey Mantle Chronicles, and they
Mhm.
are they're Portal fantasy. So you've got characters from Earth going to this magic world and the adventures they have there, etc. But all 3 of those series, the it's the same shared universe, although they're completely different stories. There are tie-ins, and I'm the kind of guy I love Easter eggs. So you'll read about a character, in one of the stories, and suddenly they'll appear as the big bad guy in this other series or something like that. So, but I like stuff like that. And so, total, I've got 13 books out. My 13th released last week. I think just over a week ago. It was on the 20th. So, and that was the latest book in my lit RPG series, AI Apocalypse Restart. Um, and so, yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
My other series, they're not lit RPG per se, but they're definitely lit RPG adjacent, because there's
yeah. I mean,
certainly aspects
Portal
of,
Fantasy, they're amazing.
yeah, Portal Fantasy, plus they've got aspects of progression, which all fantasy really does. They're just the only thing that keeps them from being lit RPG is you just don't have visible numbers. So,
Which is understandable.
so
So, so let's start with my first general question. So, we're going to be chatting a bit about your series AI Apocalypse. Um, so why write in a post-apocalyptic like, uh, genre? Obviously, a uh,
mhm.
pop up would absolutely love it, but
Right. We talked about that when I was on his podcast. Um,
Mhm.
so I think what started it and what specifically caused me to zero in on the post-apocalypse piece was what got me started actually writing and doing it as a serious hobby. Is once upon a time I participated in this play-by-post website, and we did gaming basically. It was games by way of posting, and there were some really good writers on that site. And I ran a post-apocalyptic game for a while on that site, and then a couple of others ran post-apocalyptic games that I participated in, and so that was kind of always on my mind. And it was kind of early days of the genre back when I was doing that. And so as I read more and more lit RPG, there was an itch that I needed to scratch. You know, there was a story out there that I wanted to read, and so I decided finally, well, I'll write it myself. So,
That's
and,
kind of
and
what
this,
we have to do.
yeah, and this one actually started in the middle of me writing my other series, because sometimes you write so much on one series and then you just got to step back for a second, and I had this idea. A lot of my stories start that way. A what if scenario, right?
Hmm.
And so that's what this was. And I just started writing it for fun over a weekend. And a week or 2 weeks later, I've got, I don't know, 70,000 words or something like that, and I'm like, oh, crap, this is an almost done book. I might as well go ahead and write it, finish it and publish
Hmm.
it. And that's how it got started. But that was kind of a mistake in that now I'm juggling two different series at the same time because I started this one and published it, when I really should have been finishing the others first. But it is what it is, and now this is probably my most popular series at the moment. So,
I
uh,
believe it. So you said that you've written about 13 books now. Um, so were you always wanting to combine in them into the lit RPG, or was this just something that came about because you found this genre?
well, yeah, it's because I was reading a lot of lit RPG at the time,
Hmm.
and lit RPG was really resonating with me, because I mean progression. I love progression stories. Uh,
Hmm.
I love stories where the characters are overpowered but still have challenges.
Hmm.
I my stories. There's a spectrum. On the one hand, there are stories where the uh, the main character is just constantly getting you know sand kicked in their face at the metaphorical beach, right? One trauma to the next, and they're just getting beaten down constantly and have no agency at all. And I hate that. I mean, some of them are good. Don't get me wrong. Some of those types of books are really good, but I lean in the other direction. I like characters who kick ass and take names and have competence and um, yeah, so I'm more on that end of the spectrum. Although
Hmm.
I'm, I guess I'm kind of in the medium because I like my characters have stakes and consequences and challenges where it's not just stomping through the plot and killing the big bad guy with a backslap, or that kind of thing. So yeah.
So so as I started reading this, I noticed something that intrigued me, and maybe hey, this is something that you intended to happen, because obviously, hey, there will be spoilers. I have to say, if you're watching us, there's going to be some spoilers. Um, your MC, he starts off the book uh, almost almost to die. I mean, he's gonna die,
Yeah, yeah.
and the AI ends up regressing him.
Hmm.
So, is this more of a regression series than an apocalypse series?
No, it's both, really. I mean,
Okay.
the regression really only happens in the beginning. I mean, it's not like a time loop where he's going
Yeah.
back over and over. So it's just a one time thing. But yeah, he's got 20 years of foreknowledge. Uh, he gets killed in the future. The AI has been a little overzealous in culling the population, let's put it that way, and realizes that this is going to be a problem for it. And
Mm-hmm.
this is its attempt to rectify that problem. Not that it cares about humanity at all, other than
No, not even close.
so. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, hey, for being the type of AI it was, it kind of made me laugh a bit at it, how much it doesn't. I can't swear, but it doesn't give a
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So
And and you'll see as the series goes on that the AI is very manipulative and
Mhm.
cunning in what it has chosen to do. So, which the main character will not be happy about as
Well,
it
of
goes.
course not. I
So,
mean, there's very few AI characters that we actually will love in
right.
any lit RPG. I mean, there's possibly only one that I can say, and that's just because his life reset is absolutely incredible. But that's for another chat. Um,
Yeah.
so so on that same topic, um, like I said, you've had 13 books. Did
Mhm.
you always want to be a writer, or was this something that came about because of a teacher, a friend?
No,
How
so
did you start?
yeah. So it for me it really started 12, 13 years old. I got a hold of a copy of The Hobbit, and
Mm,
and I read that book, and I'm like, whoa, books are fun. I love this, because in school we didn't have any of this stuff back then.
mm-hmm.
It was classic sci-fi, classic fantasy, and so once I discovered the genre, it's like, oh, I love this, and I wish I could write, but I never thought I'd have the talent to do it, and indeed I did not for a long, long time. So I must have been, I don't know, near 40 or around 40 when I first started writing, and taking it seriously as a hobby. But
I can appreciate that. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I think I I think I started writing my first book when I was 15.
mm,
Um, and I never intended to be a writer. I just needed to get it out of my system. Like there was
mm,
a there was a story in my head and I needed it to be gone.
yep.
And I think it took me somewhere around 3 years to get it written. And then I sat on it for
Mm,
close to 10 years before I picked it back up and decided, you know what, I'm going to edit it and I'm going to see if it does well.
mm,
The problem that I ended up having was I over edited like a
mm,
lot.
yeah. Yeah, that's pretty common. Yeah.
Hmm. And so I ended up sending it into an editor. Um,
Hmm.
and they said this was absolute crap. They didn't want anything to do with it. And
Oh,
so once again, I threw it in a drawer until about the same time that I found Lit RPG. I
no.
decided I would pick it up and I would take the advice that was given to me and I would fix it. Turn it
Nice.
into what it needed to be and reread. Mind you, I still have not published it. Like I said, this was a book that I wrote for me. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to get it out of my system so that I could say, I wrote something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still sitting in a drawer, currently waiting for my developmental editor to be like, okay, I'm going to send this to a publishing company if you don't do it soon.
Right. Well, so I think I owe my career to Lit RPG and to that whole boom in self publishing that happened that kind of started around 2010 and developed after that with Amazon, because before that, everything was behind the gatekeepers of the big publishing houses.
Hmm.
And I mean, my stories, they wouldn't have touched my first series. They wouldn't have touched it with a 10-foot pole because it was a portal fantasy, And
Yeah.
publishers back then, oh, that's cliche. We won't touch that. And hey, that was a great series in my opinion, and it did
Mm-hmm.
well on Amazon. I actually, with that first one, Guardsman. Whoops, where we go? There we go. There
There
we
it
go. Yeah.
is.
So Guardsman, that series, the final book in that series hit number 9 on the overall epic fantasy category on Kindle or on Amazon. Sorry. So it was really cool seeing my name up there right next to Robert Jordan and all these other amazing authors that I had idolized for decades, and that was really cool. I didn't expect any of that, of course, but it was
Oh,
pretty nice.
absolutely. It takes time.
Yeah, definitely did not
um,
happen overnight. That's for sure.
yes. I mean, I think there's always going to be those, how do I put it? Um, there it is. Sorry, was checking my chat. Hi, Dennis. Glad to have you here. So, so we all have to ask this same question, and that we all need to know: Are you a potter? Um, are you a plotter,
Uh,
pantser, or a plantser?
yeah, I'm a planter. I start with a like I said, I start a lot of my stories with a what if scenario. Like I'll have an idea in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
I read this about
Hey,
Robert
Rachel.
a long time ago, where he would, when it comes to the Wheel of Time, he was in a hospital, laying in a hospital bed, had the idea for Wheel of Time, and he had the final finale scene of the entire series in his head from the very beginning, and he was writing his story to get to that scene, and that's kind of how I write my books too. Especially with my first series, there were 3 key, big impactful scenes that I wanted to write, and the story was really this character going from point A to point B to point C, and that's kind of how I write. I let the characters and the world be what they are, so long as it gets them to these points that I want to hit, right? So,
So
all right.
this is a question. So this is a question that almost every single author hates for me to ask. So I do apologize. But I will do it in such a way that you don't have to choose a complete favorite. Um, when it comes to each of your series, who was your favorite character that you wrote, and what about them made them so interesting to you? Because
Nice. That's
I don't want to make you choose your favorite character amongst all your books, because
right,
that's entirely unfair.
right. Um, I'm gonna say the MC in most of my series. So Nate in the first Grey Mantle series, um, uh, Mara in the Sundered Soul series,
Hmm.
and then the Daniel in Vampire's Heir, which is more urban fantasy, and it's actually set on Earth. The first 2 books are set on Earth. Um,
Hmm.
so the MCs in those series, uh, in my lit RPG series, I've been kind of taken by surprise by Vicky, which is a side character you meet in book 1, and she's of course through all of the other books as well. But um, she turned out to be surprisingly popular, and with the readers and with myself. I really enjoyed writing her. So yeah, I mean, not that the MC of that series isn't also a
No,
favorite character,
no, absolutely.
but that side character kind of caught me by surprise. So
I can appreciate that. So we all will always ask this, and you kind of gave a little bit out of this, but who are some of the who are some of your inspirations that have brought you to writing?
nice. Robert Jordan, obviously. Tolkien. Um, those are probably the two biggest overall impacts, or what's the word I'm looking for there? The inspirations to me.
Hmm.
I've got. I don't know if you can see it from my other shelf over here, but I've got a lot of Jordan and Tolkien. I've got whole other bookshelves in the living room at the house here, but filled with tons of other people. Um, yeah, those are probably the two biggest. Of course, there's some really great lit RPGs, out there. Sean Wilson,
Of
um,
course.
his series. Um, um, there's too many to name. When it comes to lit RPG, there's too many. I've read so much of the genre that it's hard to pin down.
I can appreciate that. So, on that same topic of lit RPG, if you could have the opportunity to write with any author, co-authoring a book in a series, whether it was yours or theirs, who do you feel that you might mesh the best with?
Oh wow, that's
Not
that's
that I
a
would make you choose.
yeah
Yeah, not
yeah
that I would
yeah
make you choose a
right.
favorite. That I'm just saying,
Um,
who do you think
right.
might it be in your same writing style? Who do you think
Mm,
might work better with you?
that's kind of tough. So, I mean, obviously, from a commercial standpoint, I'd love to work with Matt, but instant success, right?
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know how well we would mesh, but that would be fun. But then also Michael Chatfield, just because we have such very similar concepts. He's got his restarting the apocalypse, mine's AI apocalypse
Mhm.
restart, and they're both apocalypse regression. So that might be fun. Let's see. Uh, Not
It's
sure who
okay.
else would be a good compatible. I like so many of them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I could never choose. Like,
Mhm.
I think the only person that I could even come close to, and that's not even because he and I have the same writing style, is just I would love to write with Ben Wolf. Like
Mm.
his his understanding of certain characters really intrigued me.
Hmm.
He he wrote. Uh, it's on my shelf up here somewhere.
Right.
But he wrote a series basically where Santa is an incredible badass. Pardon me, YouTube, but um, and for me, that's my current series that I'm working on. I've I've been kind of obsessed just with the mythical characters that we all grew up with.
Mm.
Um, and mind you, I'm not here to talk about my book. I'm here to talk about yours. Um, so moving forward, um, what are I hate to yes, Rachel, what the
Right.
frost. Yes, absolutely. Hey, um, It is one of those books that just is really good. But Ben is a genius. Um, and his way of writing just makes me happy. But like I said, I don't wanna draw from that. Um, so so obviously one of your series is a portal fantasy. Um, what what drew you to that specific genre?
Um, like I said, I had an idea that was kicking around in the back of my head for a very long time. And it was about this character who, is from Earth, college kid from Earth, gets kidnapped to this fantasy world, immediately, gets in trouble with the wrong people and has to flee for his life halfway across the continent. Um, and then, basically becomes a thorn in their side as the series goes on more and more. Um, and yeah, so that one, it was just kicking around in my head for such a long time. And then like I said, the other three series that are currently out are connected, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually all three of them, even though they're their own complete stories, all three of them will come together, kind of like Marvel Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
where each one of them are uncovering an aspect of a bigger issue,
Mm-hmm.
a bigger plot, and so they'll all come together at the end. In fact, uh, this one, even though it's the first two books are set on Earth, it's all part of that same concept, and so it'll actually be going to the same fantasy world in book three of that series. So, which I haven't written yet because if I did, there would be spoilers. So,
I
I
can
mean,
appreciate that. We won't do popcorn and today.
yeah, so this is one of the things that I learned the hard way as, being a writer. I wrote my first series, I completed it, got that arc, that story arc, all nice and tied up in a bow at the end. And this is one of those ones where I had it halfway written already or three quarters of the way written, and so I'm like, oh, I'll just go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
release it. And I wasn't thinking about the timeline, and so I got to the end of book two on this one. I'm like, oh crap, I can't go any further, otherwise I'm going to spoil everything for all of these stories, and so I
Mm-hmm.
had to shelve it for um, a while. I promise my readers I will get back to it. I really will, but you know.
So we can't ignore the one thing that half of this genre tends to be in. So your audiobook narrator, how did how did that come about?
So I've had three. My first series was picked up by Tantor,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, the narrator on that series was good, but I'm not sure he was entirely the right person for that story. And he was good. Don't get me wrong. I very much appreciate him, but I don't know if he was the right person for that story. My um, my AI apocalypse story was picked up by Podium, and
Mm-hmm.
they gave me three choices, and J.S. Arquin happened to be one of those three choices, and so I was like, yes,
Yes.
because
Yes.
he's awesome. He did Path of Ascension
Yes.
and a
He
ton of
did.
other really popular books in the genre, and I really liked him because I've listened to the books that he's read, and so I was like, yes, this is awesome. He's great. And then for my other short series, Sundered Soul,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, on camera.
Which
Uh,
from what you've told me, hey, that's coming out very soon. Isn't that like
just came
March
out.
13th?
No. Just came
Oh,
out
yes.
February 13th.
Okay.
And so I was at Lit RPG Con last year, and I'm meeting all of these narrators, and met Jessica Threet while I was there, and a couple of other amazing uh, narrators, and I was telling them about it, and everyone was like, "Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to be part of that and everything." And then um, I ended up circling back and picking Jessica because she works with actors everywhere, and I want to do something
Mm-hmm.
that will be coming up in these series with Chris and the other folks there at Actors Everywhere. And so, man, I cannot say enough good things about Jessica and
Oh,
the
absolutely.
amazing job she did on Sundered Soul. It she puts so much life into the character. It's awesome. I mean, you read that thing and it is so entertaining halfway just because Jessica is amazing, right? So
It's true.
yeah, yeah.
So we got a question here from Rachel Cooper. Thank you so much, Rachel, for asking. She asked, "Do you prefer to write stories with lone MCs or adventure parties?"
That's a great question, and I prefer single POV stories. That's that's the way I like to write them, and that's probably because that's what I prefer reading wise. But at the same time, AI Apocalypse Restart is not turning out that way. Because there are these other characters like Vicky and Morgan, and now as you go further into the series, they're just because of the way the story is evolving, there have to be other people involved in what's going on. It's not, you can't, one person can't reverse the apocalypse all on their own. They've got to
It's true.
rely on other people as well. And so
Hmm.
if I did everything off camera, so to speak, then you'd be missing so much of what is underlying the things happening in that story. And so the deeper I'm getting into it, the more it's turning into a into a multi POV story. Although it's going to remain primarily focused on Liam, the main character. So
Of course. And I'm gonna do just like you. Like I've been I've been dying, losing my eh, voice. So
same. Got my drink
uh,
right here, branded
yeah,
mug.
yes. Um, so obviously you've been doing this for a while. What would you say to aspiring authors that, or what advice might you give if to aspiring authors that want to get into this? Because from what you've told me, you started as an independent author. You didn't go with a publishing company.
Right. Yeah. Which is the great thing because until 10, 15 years ago, there was no choice. I mean, you could go to a
Mhm.
vanity publisher and pay someone to print your book and get it on some shelves, but it's never going to be popular and it's never going to find an audience unless someone is pushing your stuff. And then I hate to I, I hate to say great things about some of these big companies, but Amazon and some of these others really have made it possible for people like me and people like the aspiring authors these days to get their
Mhm.
stories out there and to find an audience. And that's where I got lucky, with my stories. My first book, um, I think I think I sold 32 copies of my first book in the 9 months it was out before I put the second book out, and it turned out that I had accidentally somehow not selected KDP, and so it
Oh
was not
no.
in Kindle Unlimited, and I didn't realize that until, because I was completely new. I was a complete noob, and at the self-publishing thing, and I didn't know. But I'm setting up book two, and I'm comparing the setups. I'm like, why isn't KDP selected? You know, and as soon as I flipped the switch, and there were two books out, suddenly I started getting sales. And it starts going up, and then book three comes out, and it starts really going up, and I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe I can do this. But so my advice would be: A, don't give up. You know,
Hmm.
B, just write. Because I've probably got nearly 500,000 words out there that I wrote before I ever did my first book.
Hmm.
Um, and that stuff, some of it will eventually see the light of day, as I get past these series that I've already written, just because, I don't want to start too many things at once, and make my readers have to wait, on AI Apocalypse while I'm doing this other thing that attracted my attention, so yeah, you just have to put that time in, and improve. And one of the probably the biggest things you can do to become good or become better is to find a community that
Hmm.
can read your stuff and give you advice. For me, when I started, it was that play by post, RPG site,
Hmm.
because there were great authors there, and they gave me some really good advice on the how to of writing, um, and which tremendously improved my actual not talent, but improved my technique, and helped
Yeah.
raised me to the point where I felt that, hey, I can do this. so so yeah, there's all of that.
I I can very much appreciate that. Like the the community here has basically made it very clear you can do this, Wilkie. Like you can
Oh,
accomplish anything, and I've really had a lot of good luck with incredible authors that have encouraged me. And I don't think you could find a better community than Lit RPG. Like
mhm.
it's so supportive, and there's so much love here.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't
so
be a
we got
writer
an
right now, I'm
go
sure,
ahead.
if it hadn't been for the lit RPG community.
So we got another question here. Here from James Ray Kenny. Do you plot everything in advance, or do you let your characters surprise you sometimes?
Uh, I do plot, but I'm open to change. We talked about it a little while ago. The side character Vicky in the AI Apocalypse series completely surprised me. That character was not meant to be there in my original outline, and I'm writing this, and I'm realizing as I'm going along that. This is too much one person grinding dungeons over and over. He needs human interaction, and so I dropped this character in there thinking, okay, it'll give him someone to interact with, and you'll get to see that this character is human and not just a flat one dimensional guy, right? And she totally surprised me. She turned out to be such a fun character, and readers loved her because, I mean, she's a 12-year-old who just is all about killing the monsters, and she has absolute zero fear when it comes to doing anything because she's already lost everything. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm going to kill these monsters. They need to die, period. And it turned out to be really, really good synergy, and, really, really fun interaction. So,
Hmm.
And the main character, he's like, I can't just leave her somewhere. I can't leave her with other people and get them to protect her because she'll just run off and do it on her own.
Hmm. The one thing that really annoyed me, and this is not anything to do with your writing. Your writing was beautiful. I loved your book, AI Apocalypse. I will always praise it because it was beautiful.
Think,
But the I was so angry at it because it puts so much limitation on your MC. Like
mhm,
he's not allowed to he's not allowed to get in contact with the AI. Not that he ever really could,
mhm.
but I mean, how are you supposed to save the world when you're putting so much limit on me?
Right? So book 4 just came out, and Liam learns a lot that the AI will
Mm-hmm.
take from him in book 4, and it's going to be a different ball game as the books go on, because now the AI doesn't have full control of him, because he now has access that it never intended to give him, and
Well, of
so we'll
course it
see how that
didn't.
goes, right? Not that he would ever have allowed that situation to go on forever anyway, but
No,
you know.
absolutely not. Like, goodness sakes. Like, if you get the chance to refix what you could,
Hmm.
absolutely. And stick it to the AI at that. Like, if you can do something to tear him down, do it.
Right. Yep.
So,
And I'll give one spoiler here from book 4. He
mhm.
discovers that this is how things were. This is not how things were meant to be. The
Mm.
situation that exists right now is not what it was supposed to have been. So,
Well, of course it wasn't. But AIs tend to not always have every answer, and they think they do.
yeah.
So, so we've talked about your 13 books. I mean, not all of them, but we talked about each of your series. Is there a book that you've written that you've shoved into a drawer because you didn't think that it was good enough?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So I don't think I would say that, because I can make them good enough. At this point, I
Mm-hmm.
think I have enough, knock on wood here, I think I have enough skill to make them good enough. But I do have several stories that have been put in a drawer for now. I've got a series that ties in with the Gray Mantle books, that
Mm-hmm.
is, from another character, and I'd originally written almost an entire book 1 of this story. I think I have almost 80,000 words or something like that. It's pretty deep, and I
Yeah.
have a plot, you know. Diagrammed out for at least 3, maybe 4 books in that series. Um, but I can't write that until I get this stuff done, because I don't want to
Yes.
disappoint these readers, right? And same
Of
thing, I've
course.
got, I've got a superhero story, kind of in a bit of a dystopian superheroes future, kind of like The
Okay.
Boys, in a way. That I actually started writing this before that show came out, but that's put on the shelf for now. If anything, I'd say that one I may not be ready to write yet, talent wise, because there's aspects of that story that needs a lot of skill. in order to do it justice. And so that one maybe I might put on the back burner until I feel like I'm ready for it. So
Okay. I can appreciate that.
yeah.
So we don't usually talk about this a lot because nobody wants to say the dreaded question. Um, how have you, having written in 13 books, how have you been able to keep not necessarily your sanity, because it's not sanity, um, but we've seen that there are some authors in this genre that tend to not ignore their mental health, but that tend to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
How have you taken time to make sure that you're not getting overwhelmed as you're putting out these books?
That's actually a really great question. And it's hard because I still have a day job,
Yeah.
which pays the bills, and I'm 8 to 5 every day
Mm-hmm.
doing that job during the week, and my writing happens, late night after the family goes to bed and on the weekends, and so it's hard to balance. Plus, I've got kids, and they're all teenagers, and so despite this white beard, right? I started late, and I've got the whole family thing going on in addition
Mm-hmm.
to the day job, in addition to juggling 2 active series at the moment, plus more that I want to write really badly and don't have time to get to yet. So yeah, that's hard, and I'd say partly this that writing helps give me an outlet for my creativity, so that helps keep me balanced a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, so I'd say this helps keep me balanced. And then when
Okay.
things get really overwhelming, I'll actually put the pen down, so to speak, the keyboard, and I'll read, um,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you need to recharge your batteries, and I find that reading other stories will take me out of that mental space and give me the chance to recuperate and get back to being creative again.
I can appreciate that. Now, this is probably just me thinking out loud. Um, Very few of our authors that we have, excluding our women, because our women, and if you had this, I would feel very, very frightened for you. Um, but most of our authors in lit RPG that are men are pretty clean shaven. Is is the beard something that has defined you who in your life, or is that something that just makes you more visible when it comes to your fans?
Um, that's actually funny. So I would say the beard does get me noticed. Last year when I was at Lit RPG Con, I'm running around and people kept stopping me thinking I was Matt Denneman because of the beard. And I mean, not just once or even twice, but I mean several times over the course of the convention. And part of that is just, because no one knows an author's face, a
It's
TV star.
true.
Oh, yeah, we know who that is, right? But no one knows our face. And so people kept stopping me, and so I'm telling this to Matt later during the convention, and he grabs my badge off my chest, and under my name he writes "or Matt D." So, but yeah, I don't know.
That's awesome.
I wish I had gotten to the full beard when I was younger, because I used to do a goatee, and I don't know. I like the full beard a lot better. I just like the look. So
I can appreciate that. Like, for me, I don't think I could pull it off. I've got too much of a baby face. Though, I will say this, I am very appreciative that as long as I wear the mustache, I don't look like I'm 15. It's it's just bad. And with
yeah,
when I'm completely clean shaven.
yeah. So I actually started wearing a mustache and goatee because of that. Because I always looked 10 years younger than I was. I started teaching school in my mid 20s, after graduating college. And first day, I'm standing in front of the classroom. I'm wearing a sports coat and a tie and slacks, and I'm standing in front of the classroom. First kid walks through the door, looks at me, looks at my name on the chalkboard, looks back at me, and says, "So what have you heard about this Baxter guy?" I'm like, I'm serious. I looked friggin' 16 when I was teaching school at
Oh
25,
gosh.
26. Teachers
Hmm.
were stopping me in the hall for the first 2.5 weeks, asking me for a hall pass, right? Like, dude, I was just in the in service meeting with you the other day, please. So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So I guess you could say it is kind of defining trait, right?
Yes.
I haven't been clean shaven since my 20s.
So another question that I have, um, because each author has a very unique appearance, and it's not necessarily the face or anything like that, but your logo. How did you how did you come up with that yourself? What?
Fiber. So actually, first I came up with a monogram logo,
Hmm.
and then I was, as I started getting more books published and stuff, I'm like, you know what, I need a brand logo, and so came up, found an artist on Fiverr, said, hey, I want dragons, I want my name, and this is what they came up with, and it turned out really well. I love it. So, yeah.
I can appreciate that. I mean, I may I have to ask this question because, like I told you, I'm currently working on a lit RPG series. Mhm. No one's gonna have the chance to read it because I got advice from. Well, let me rephrase that. It'll be a little while before people will have the chance to read it. Because at Lit RPG Con, um, I I was looking for advice and I was asking around, and a large portion of the authors told me, and this will apply a bit to a question that I have for you. Um, write write as many of your books as you can first,
Mm,
and then start publishing them, so that your fans don't have to wait for the next one to come. Um,
that is fantastic advice, by the way. I have given that advice myself. Unfortunately for me, it didn't work. So I started when I first, like I said, when I started my first series, Guardsman Grey Mantle Chronicles. Um, I was out of work at the time. I published it, didn't go anywhere. Book two comes out, I start getting sales. Book three comes out, I start getting a lot of sales, and so book four, book five, whatever, and I learned very quickly that the Amazon algorithm is very unforgiving, and if you are not publishing, very fast, you
mhm.
will drop out of the it will forget you. 90
Yes. Oh,
days, 90
absolutely.
days, nothing comes out from you, you're not doing anything, it's going to start, your sales are going to start plummeting. So it's very unforgiving. And once you get on that train, you can't get back off.
Yeah.
It's publish or perish. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah.
Which which I understand. I mean, that's why I've already made a promise to myself. I'm going to write at least 5 of my books in my series
There you go.
before I ever published, so that once I get to my 7th, I'm not scared to death. And
Right.
at the moment, it still might end up being 8, but that's all dependent on characters. Like, I'm finding new characters all the time, and it's freaky.
The algorithm will love you if you've got those things scheduled to come out at a steady, even pace. It it will keep that algorithm juiced so that it's just it's rolling. And it, I mean, honestly, I think that was one of 2 really big factors in the success of my first series, because I was putting them out once I saw those
Uh-huh.
sales hit with book 3. I put out books 4 and 5 really fast, and
Uh-huh.
the algorithm absolutely loved me for it. And it was nothing I was doing. It was just the fact that I was putting that stuff out. And the algorithm looks for what they call relevance.
Uh-huh.
So it wants to see a series that or a book that it thinks is going to be relevant to customers, so they'll buy it, and
Uh-huh.
therefore Amazon will make money. And the more you hit in that perfect zone, and it sees that you're a serious author that's putting stuff out, that's when you're going to see success on their algorithm. So, yeah, for sure.
I I will keep that in mind. So, obviously in this genre we have a lot of unique authors, and when we get together, it is the most incredible experience. I mean,
Mm,
Lit RPG Con last year was absolutely amazing, and we can gush over it forever.
yep.
Coming together with different authors, does that influence your writing? And did you get inspiration for any other series because of that opportunity to be able to come together with other authors and just have the chance to interact?
I'd say yes and no. So I didn't get any inspiration for new series from Lit RPG Con, but I certainly got inspiration to write more,
Mm-hmm.
um, and to get back into the rhythm of it, because my publishing schedule over the last 2 years slowed down quite a bit because of life. Life happens.
Yeah, of course.
And so getting together with them definitely sparked, a renewed fire. But I'll also say
Which,
that that having another author to bounce stuff off of is amazing. One of my
yes.
oldest friend, also an author, he and I, grew up together, and we were always bouncing story ideas off of each other. I would have an idea, and he would say, "Oh, what about this?" And we would just feed off each other that way. And my first series wouldn't exist if it hadn't been for him, and you know those interactions that we used to have together. So
Oh, absolutely. So we're running out of time,
yep.
and this is my second episode, and so I'm still learning the the general well way that I do this. But
Mhm.
to end this, I'd love to have it be that tell us, like, tell us what you have in the pipeline. Tell us, as without spoilers, mind you. I don't want you to spoil anything,
Right.
but what do you have coming up? What, it, where can we find you? And what events that you do you have coming up soon that we can go and find you at?
Sounds good. Yeah. So at the end of May, I'm doing 2 panels at Comic Palooza. Um,
Okay.
and so I'll be there at the end of May.
Yes.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And then Lit RPG Con in July. So just a
Uh-huh.
couple of months after that. I'm looking forward to Lit RPG Con a lot. Like you said, last year it was an amazing time. So as far as that goes, yes. Um, Jessica has already recorded book 2 of the Sundered Soul series, so it's going to come out in about a month. In fact, I need to write ACX and get them to set up the pre-order on it. So that's already done and ready to go. I'm currently writing Sundered Soul 3 and AI Apocalypse 5. So those are in the
Okay.
pipelines. Once I finish one of those series, I have more in the pipeline coming past those. So I certainly won't
Okay.
run out of things to write.
And if fans wanted to pick up your book, besides Amazon, do you have a website that they can go to?
So Amazon, Audible, and I think many of my books are on other platforms besides just Audible. My latest book is Audible exclusive, but most of my previous books I think are across multiple platforms. I used to have a website. I kind of let it slide for a while because the I forget which one it was. Whatever my provider was decided they wanted to get greedy and start charging me a load of
Oh,
money. So I'm
gotcha.
like, fine, I'll just let that expire for now until I find someone to replace it for me. Which eventually I will, not in a hurry. So, but mostly Amazon. So
Okay. Well, then I can't ask you to get a shirt because I absolutely love your logo. Like
oh, thank
I'll
you.
support every single one of our authors in every way that I can.
So actually thinking about doing this as merch. So I don't know if you can see the back of the shirt.
Oh,
Look,
that's beautiful.
got the AI Apocalypse cover done on it.
Yes, that's
So I like that.
gorgeous.
So I
I
might
will
put that as merch at some point.
I will find you because I need that shirt. Um,
Thank you.
so before we close, last question. What are you currently reading? And I will give the same thing.
Nice. So I think Andrew Rowe I think he just came out with a new book on audio, which I will be picking up very soon. Currently
Uh-huh.
reading Bog Standard Isekai. Sorry, mispronounced that. Um, I'm reading. Those two are the currents right now. So I
Okay.
just finished Hunter Mythos's latest mage story. So I've
Uh-huh.
got that, and of course Sean Wilson, buddy of mine. His Ultimate Level 1 series. So you know,
Absolutely. Well, for me, I am currently doing quite a few buddy reads. They've got me going through too many these days. But for
right.
Audible, I am currently finishing. Let me make sure that I say this right. I'm currently finishing up Mark of the Fool so that I can do a buddy
Mm.
read with them. And then recently, I I posted this on my TikTok, and mind you, I am a mood reader, but I am also a visual person. So when you have a book that looks as beautiful as this,
Oh, nice.
you have you have to pick it up. And even more, it's about a library. So
Right.
when you have a book like that, so I am currently reading in the library of Amerlin. So
Nice.
those are my two.
Show me the spine of that book. Did that have artwork on the spine?
Yes, it did. That's why I was
Ah,
like,
that's awesome.
yeah, that's
That is
why I was like,
great.
it has everything. I mean, so not only is the dust cover beautiful and the spine is beautiful, mind
Oh
you,
wow, nice.
beautiful art, but this was what actually really grabbed it
Wow,
for me.
wow. That is a gorgeous book right there.
Yeah, so I had to pick it up. But I'm loving it so far. It's amazing. It's not a lit RPG, but it's an incredible romance that if you haven't had the chance, check it out. It actually is. I think I somehow got a pre-release of it because
Hmm.
according to Amazon, it's not supposed to release until the 3rd of March, but it was in my Barnes and Noble.
I have to show this off.
Yes, please. Oh gosh.
Advanced reading
Oh,
copy.
oh gosh.
I worked in a bookstore back in 1991, right before Wheel of Time came out, and they sent out advanced reader copies to the managers of the bookstores. And my store's
Oh,
manager did not read fantasy, so they gave it to me. And sadly, I never got to meet him in person and get it signed, but and
darn it.
also I read it, I don't know, half a dozen times, so it's not in pristine condition, but that is the jewel of my collection right there. So,
I can appreciate.
yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me. This was amazing. I know it might have seemed like I was stumbling for questions, but
No,
like I
no,
said, I'm
you're doing
I'm
great.
still figuring this out.
Yeah,
Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for being here, David. This was absolutely wonderful, and I'm so very much looking forward to being with you at Lit RPG Con and this year. Like,
absolutely.
I
Yeah, and
promise I will come and give you a massive hug.
awesome. Thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Love to come back sometime in the future. I know you've got a long list of folks, but whenever you feel like it, you're always welcome to give me a call. And let me know, and
Absolutely.
I'll be happy to hook you up with an Audible copy of Sundered Soul if you're interested in it too. So
I would love that. I'm always interested in checking out a new book and trying something new.
nice.
So, with that, I appreciate all of you for joining. We will be having another podcast next Sunday. It will be with a new lit RPG author, David A. Trotter, and his series Legend of
Mm,
Neverwhere.
nice.
So come check us out again in next Sunday, 5 o'clock. We're gonna have him. I'm hoping to see if I can and grab his narrator too, but that doesn't always work out.
Right.
But we're out. Y'all have a great evening.
Take care. Thank you all.